Welcome to the webinar today. My name is Annie Rudin, and our webinar today is a Q&A session, a question and answer session for Pronunciation Pro. And this is all about English pronunciation and fluency, also referred to as accent reduction or accent neutralization, accent modification, American accent training. There are a lot of names for what we do here at Pronunciation Pro. But essentially, what we do is we teach you how to speak in such a way that most native English speakers will understand you, and English speakers around the world will understand you the easiest, or understand you the most clear. And now, accents are interesting because everyone has an accent. What we're teaching is the standard American English accent. And so if that is what you're interested in, this is what we do. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. This is me. My name is Annie Rudin, and if you have gone through our free trial, then you have seen the videos with me giving the trainings. So that week 1 training with the free week you would have seen. And those who have signed up for our membership program or some of our programs, we have some current students and potential students here on this webinar. So welcome, and thank you for being here. So this webinar, like I said, is a Q&A, a question and answer. So go ahead and write down your questions as you think of them. If you've come with questions, go ahead and write them down in that questions box, and we'll address them after I finish some of these commonly asked questions. So the first question I tend to get, or one question I tend to get, is what qualifies you, meaning me, to teach English pronunciation and fluency, to teach accent reduction or American accent training? So let me go ahead and tell you about my educational background and how I came to be a trainer. I have if you see here with my name, Annie Rudin, MS stands for Master of Science. So I have a master's degree in Communication Sciences and Disorders. So essentially what that master's degree is a master's in speech language pathology. And what that with that, I have become certified. The CCC stands for Certificate of Clinical Competence for Speech Language Pathology, is the SLP. And the CCC SLP comes from an organization called the American Speech Language Hearing Association. So this is the national certification for speech therapists. And so I am a certified member. I have the highest levels of certification within this organization. And what's interesting about American accent training or accent reduction training is that you don't necessarily have to have these certifications or qualifications to be able to teach it. I think if you've been on YouTube, you've seen all sorts of trainers or people teaching accent reduction, and I'm sure many of them are very, very great and competent. Very few of them are licensed and certified speech pathologists. And what a speech pathologist, the qualifications that we have as a speech pathologist with linguistics and phonetics and language and articulation, we have a very intense training program that gives us a very solid foundation in how to train people to modify the sounds that they say and speak with this more American English. Now, speech therapists, they work in a variety of settings, but I have chose to concentrate and focus my my practice or my career with American accent training. I love it. It's very interesting to me. I love working with clients from all around the world. And I've been doing it for several years now. And so that's really what qualifies me here. I've been training for many years. I have all this certification, and I'm very passionate about helping my clients make the progress they need, because I've seen over and over again what a drastic difference it makes in their lives. They go from not feeling very confident in their workplace, not having very many opportunities in their career because people can't understand them. They speak English fluently, but they're having a really hard time in their careers because there's been a lot of miscommunication, or they feel undervalued because people aren't really giving them the time and attention they need, because they really just can't understand them. And it's a very difficult position that you and my clients are in, because you know English, you work to learn English, or you grew up speaking English, but in a different part of the world where your accent might be a little different. And because of that, there's some frustration in terms of communication. So that's a little bit of background about me. So let's get into our next question. I get this question a lot: how do I reduce my accent? And it seems really basic and simple, but I've actually I was working with a client of mine, and we were in the first or second lesson, and I get very specific in the beginning. We talk about specific skill sets with pronunciation and fluency. And after the second lesson, or during the second lesson, she said, okay, this is all great, but how do I reduce my accent? And so it made me realize that she didn't quite understand what an accent is. So an accent is, we all have accents, and what it is, it's the carryover of the sounds and rhythm of your first language to English. So if you have an accent, a foreign accent in English while speaking English, it's because you're using the sounds and the rhythm of your first language while speaking English. And maybe your first language is English, but it was in a different part of the world, so that the pronunciation is different. So what we do is we teach you the sounds, the American English sounds, specific sounds for American English. We teach you the specific rules of English rhythm, and I'll get into these two a little bit more. And when all of that comes together, when you're using the correct sounds of English, when you're using the correct rhythm of English, it creates an accent. It creates the American accent, standard American accent. So it really is sounds plus rhythm equals your accent. Whether that be, so if you have a French accent, it means you're using the sounds and the rhythm, French sounds and French rhythm to create a French accent. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about these sounds and rhythm. So English sounds, you've probably seen these phonetic symbols before. This is the International Phonetic Alphabet, or some of the symbols on the International Phonetic Alphabet. And what we have is, in English, there are 26 letters in the English alphabet, and there are 56 sounds in English. So we don't have enough letters to be able to represent all of the sounds in English. So English is not a phonetic-based language. So we use these phonetic symbols to represent sounds that are not included in our alphabet. And with the Pronunciation Pro course, we don't use International Phonetic Alphabet. We tend to use, we use what is called Rudin phonetics, what we've kind of created here. And it's just an easier symbol system, an easier way to spell out words that, so that you can understand how to pronounce them. And so if you've gone through the first week, you've gone through the Rudin phonetics lesson, and that just gives a foundation so that you can understand as we go through the course kind of the sound base of English. So we teach the sounds of English, and we teach the vowels, we teach consonants, And in the first 6 weeks, you get our 12-week program, you get lessons on almost every single one of the most problematic sounds of English. And what we do is we train you to hear the sounds, the difference between the different sounds of English, because that's the first step, is understanding or hearing the difference. And then we practice mouth placement, where your mouth's supposed to go, how it's supposed to, how the airflow is supposed to go. And then we practice. Learning the English sounds is all about muscle movement and retraining your mouth to move in a new way. So practice is key. Now, the English rhythm, when we're talking about English rhythm or American English rhythm, we're talking about word stress, sentence stress, intonation, rate of speech, linking, pausing. All of these skills are specific lessons that we teach through the program. And when you bring all of those together, it creates this rhythm. And if you have, and I'm sure you've noticed with English and other languages that there's a certain rhythm or beat, kind of like music. There's a rhythm about it. And English is what we call a stress-timed language. So it's based on stress patterns. So if you look at the bottom left-hand corner here, you have the small children and the adults. The adults represent the stressed part of the words or stressed part of the sentences. It's where we get more emphasis, more stress, our voice gets longer, louder, or the pronunciation is longer, louder, with higher pitch and more emphasis. So we usually have, how are you today? Okay, you is emphasized. How are you today? So the children would represent how are, and then the adult would be you today, and then it comes back down. Okay, that's an example of stress. It's a stress-timed language. Now, another example is with Chinese. It's a syllable-timed language. So each syllable gets the same amount of stress. So there isn't that stress time about it. So if you are a native Chinese speaker, then you have to learn this different rhythm, this stress-timed rhythm. Now, the box above, that is an example of our intonation pattern. So when we're talking about American English intonation, there's certain rules that go along with intonation. So he bought apples, peaches, pears, and oranges. Okay, so this is an example of list intonation. And again, all of these things are included with the lessons in our 12-week course. I'm just giving a little bit of just little parts for you here. So list intonation is the rule there is that when you have a list of items and you're saying a list of items, your intonation will rise on every item of the list except for the last item, and then it will fall. Okay, so I'll have 2 pencils, a black pen, and some ink. We went to Paris, Brussels, Amsterdam, and London. You see how it goes up, 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 down. I saw Esther, Jane, Neil, and Susan. Okay, so it's all about that pitch pattern. And if you think about English, and maybe you've made fun of English speakers before, or kind of tried to mimic the American English accent, but I've heard people kind of say, use it, not using words, but just using the rhythm, just mimic it like this. They'd go da 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 da. Okay, so that really is a good example of how American English intonation works, or English rhythm works, because da 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 da, we have that stress, da 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 da, we have the falling intonation, we have all these elements combined to create this rhythm. All right, another question I get very frequently is about long and short vowels. So long and short vowels, and again, with English, there aren't enough vowels. So I mean, there are so many more vowel sounds in English than there are vowel letters. So it can get confusing. So real quick, just going over the rules of long and short vowels. So a short vowel these are the short vowels: a, I, ah. So we call them short vowels because they have a shorter pronunciation to it. And these vowels are typically spelled with one vowel letter. So you have a consonant, a vowel, and then a consonant. So example, words like at, red, it, up, and hot, where there's only one vowel present. Or there are multiple consonants on each side of the vowels. Now, a long vowel are vowels like e, oo, o, a, I, oi. Let's see, the control panel's in my way, so I can't see what the other sounds are. So these are typically spelled with two vowels next to each other. And one little thing that you can kind of think of is when two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. So when you have two vowels together, when two vowels go walking, two vowels together in a word, the first one does the talking. So the first vowel sound is going to get that longer pronunciation. So if it's, for example, if you have something like boat, the word boat, B-O-A-T, two vowels go walking, so the O is going to get its full pronunciation, boat, boat. So the A doesn't really get any kind of pronunciation there, it's just that O gets its full pronunciation, or the long pronunciation. Okay, boat, boat. Same with maid, M-A-I-D, maid. Two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. M-A, m-aid. And Q, so the U-E, Q, U is going to get that pronunciation. Now it works here for when two vowels are right next to each other, but it also will be a long vowel if there's only one consonant in between the two vowels. So you have two vowels, but then there's only one consonant in between. So this is a vowel, consonant, vowel pattern. So words like M-A-D-E, made, will have that long vowel pronunciation for the A, made. Ride is the same situation. Okay, now here, these are the vowel rules. So short vowel, only one, short pronunciation, short vowel pronunciation, only one vowel letter. Long vowel pronunciation, two vowels together, or two vowels separated by only one consonant. Little confusing. It might be one of those things you kind of just have to mull over for a little while and get into your head. Whenever I teach something in this course, I don't expect you to fully understand and be able to use it the first time we address it. That's why in this course, this first 6 weeks are learning all the new lessons and the new sounds. And then the next 6 weeks are practicing and reviewing all of those elements together. So we really build from week to week. All right, and then there are always exceptions, of course. Always exceptions to the rules in English. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. English is a melting pot of so many different languages and cultures, and so our language is constantly evolving, and we adopt words from Greek words and Latin words and French words, and so it becomes very complex. But one thing to be aware of is that 80% of English follows the rules. There's about 20% that are more of the exception to the rules. So what we teach in this course is we teach that 80%. So when you learn the 80%, rules of English that make up the 80% of English, you learn those rules, you understand those rules, you're using those rules, then you can start looking at the exceptions and learning the exceptions. Okay, you can't really understand the exceptions until you understand the rules, and that's what we do, is we really focus and concentrate and teach you exactly what those rules are. Okay, so just real quick with the short vowel, these are the most commonly mispronounced short and long vowels that I see. Okay, the short I and the long E. Many times these are mixed or are swapped for each other. They're mistaken for each other. For example, this and these. This, I has the short vowel, this, and your microphone's on mute. So go ahead, and if you're in a quiet place or alone somewhere and you feel comfortable doing it, say this out loud with me. This has that short I, this, versus these has the long E, these. Okay, this, these. I hear these two mixed up very often. So instead of these, or instead of this, I hear these often. Instead of these, I hear this. So important to get those vowels right. Another one, sit, seat. I want you to have a sit or sit down on the chair and bring me a seat, or this is your seat. Okay, with our program, we go over each of these vowels in great depth. So you'll have just a lesson on the short I, and you'll go through listening exercises, you'll go through words and sentences and paragraphs and kind of build your skills listening to and being able to say these vowels. So if you're not getting it right now, or you don't hear the difference between them right now, through the course you will. Another example, bin and bean. Okay, and here's one thing, and we'll go over a little bit more in detail a little later, but B-E-E-N, how have you been? I've been to the store, I've been to Europe. It's pronounced more as B-I-N than B-E-E-N, so this is kind of an exception to the rule. So bin and bean, so short and long vowel. Okay, here are some commonly mispronounced English words that I hear very often. February. Okay, it's spelled like it should be February, but it is not. That R in the middle does not get pronounced. So if you can see, when I do the slash marks, that's Rudin phonetics, and when I do the quotations, it's just kind of another way of spelling it. So February. And that first syllable is going to get the stress or the emphasis. So February. So this is another one, Wednesday. It's not pronounced Wednesday. It's pronounced Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday. Another one, pronunciation. Okay, this is another big one. Pronunciation. Pronunciation. You try it. And this is one of my favorite unusually spelled words. I think I was an adult before I came across this word in writing, and was thinking and kind of stopped on it and thought, colonel? What in the world is colonel? And then, contextually through what I was reading, I was able to understand that it was supposed to be colonel. But I don't think you can get anything more off in terms of spelling and pronunciation than this word. So this word is colonel. Colonel. So like in the army, a colonel. Okay, and then in those quotations, kernel, that's a kernel of corn, but it's pronounced exactly the same way. A kernel in the army, a kernel of corn. A few more here. Okay, the this and these. These words are very common in the English language, and they're almost always, when I start with a new student, a new client, I almost always have them pronouncing it as duh, dis, and d's, with a D instead of an English TH sound. So it should be th, th. And in week 2 of the program, we go over this English TH sound, where your mouth's supposed to be, how the airflow is supposed to be, and it really, we really go into detail about it. And we talk about it at the beginning of the course because it will take you, it's really a difficult one to really learn and practice and incorporate into your English pronunciation. So we address it at the beginning, and we have you work on it through the entire 12-week course. And by the end of the 12-week course, what we find is that students are thinking, oh, well, now I say it without even thinking about it. I say it correctly without even thinking about it. But it is almost always a problem for any of my students. The words said and says. Instead of it really, the way it's spelled, it should be said and says, but it is more of a short eh pronunciation. Said, says. He said he was coming. She says that he is her friend. Oh, and again, been, how have you been? It's more pronounced B-I-N. And this is just, most of these are more reductions, is what we refer to them as. And reductions are basically just us getting lazy in our pronunciation. And over the years, it has stuck, so it has become more standard. So if you say, how have you been? It's more of a, it's very uncommon. Or I said, nobody says that. So it's a reduction, but it has become so common that now that's the standard. Okay, and this one is the glottal stop. I found this graphic. I thought it was kind of funny. So standard British, the word glottal, it would be glottal with that T pronunciation, glottal. And what a glottal stop is that halting airflow in your glottis, and your glottis is the back of your throat. And in standard American English, we pronounce it more of as a D, glottal, glottal, glottal. Okay, so those T's become D's to us. Standard British, glottal. Standard American, glottal. And more of the Cockney accent is glottal, glottal, glottal. So that's a true glottal stop, is when you do glottal, glottal. And one thing that I've noticed in my pronunciation is that I do the glottal stop, that more Cockney glottal stop, in words like mountain, mountain. So instead of saying mountain, I tend to say mountain. And what was the other one? Button, button. I tend to say, instead of button, like I'm going to button my shirt, it's button. I usually say button. And that has more to do with where I grew up in the United States. Here on the West Coast, I grew up more in Arizona, and the west side of the west coast of the, or western part of the United States. So you'll see in different parts of the United States, they might pronounce that different. And last, the silent H here, when we're talking about specific pronunciation topics, the silent H. And these are words that have a silent, very common words that have a silent H. And there are more words in English that have this silent H, but these are probably the most common, is honor, hour, herbal, air, and alleluia, alleluia. Honor, hour, herbal, air, alleluia. And so instead of saying honor, hour, you wouldn't say that. And I looked up the why this is and why we do this silent H on some of these words, and it really just comes back to we got this word from another country, another culture, and we've incorporated it into our English, and that's how they pronounce it. And so it is what it is, kind of strange, but just remember some of those words. Now, I get this question a lot. What are my recommendations? We offer a variety of packages with Pronunciation Pro, and really this has to do with more budget reasons more than anything. Just being able to offer a wide variety of choices for people, so that so people can get the training that they need at the price that works for them. So our first option, kind of going from the lowest price to the highest priced, our lowest price package is the basic membership, and this is only $19.97 a month. And what you get is you do get the full 12-week video training course, all of the materials. If you signed up for the free trial, you have the first week of that program, and then you'll get the rest week by week through the next 12 weeks. So, if you do the program in the 3 months or the 12 weeks, it will be about $60 total. But you can pay it month to month. And this is what we have come to as our lowest possible. We really try to make it as affordable as possible and still be able to run a business and still be able to do what we're doing here. So that's our basic monthly membership package. And we really do believe in this course that if you are to follow through with all of the videos and all the instruction and practice the way you need to, then you'll be able to make the progress that you need. And then a next option, what I like to recommend is the basic membership. And if you can spend a little bit more money, then doing a full accent assessment along with it. And this is $97 for the accent assessment. And what this does is you record a full assessment, and then you submit it to our trainers, and we analyze it, and then we write up a report for you, specifically for you, about what you need to work on through the video, through the course, and where your weaknesses are, and what specifically you need to do. So it's a very valuable thing to add to your package if possible. Then next is the Plus package. This includes that full accent assessment, plus every week of the 12 weeks. At the end of, after you've gone through all the video trainings, then you submit an assignment, and you record yourself going through the assignment. You submit that to our trainers, they listen to it, and then they send a recording back giving you feedback on that assignment. And this is actually my favorite package, because I've seen it's at such an affordable price, but I've seen how much progress people can make, students can make through this program, and I'm amazed at how much interaction we were able to have just through these recordings back and forth. So I really feel like I know my students and have connected with my students, even though we haven't met live ever. And then the Premier package is the assessment, weekly feedback, 12 live online sessions. So we do through video conferencing, and actually I forgot to mention this, but there's a final evaluation to show the percentage of improvement from beginning to end. So those are the packages. That's what's available. And actually, I would encourage you to, if you're interested in those Plus and Premier packages, sign up this weekend, because I think what I've heard here in the office is that those prices are going up starting next week. So Plus and Premier, if you're interested in those, get on it right away. All right, time for questions. I'm going to go ahead and come out of my PowerPoint here and open up. Let's see, open up for questions. I'm going to I have this little bit of a writing board here that I'll use if need be through the questions. But all right, if you have a question, then go ahead. Okay, so the plus package. So this is a question, Azar. Thank you for submitting this question. The plus package. Okay, so what we have for the plus package, and there's been a little bit of, I think what we had before going on was you signed up for the monthly membership, and then there was the plus package. We had broken up into 4 payments, and it was on top of that $19.97 a month package. So that's the way we've had it for the last couple of weeks. And I think that what they decided was, you know what, let's simplify things. If people are interested in the plus and the premier package, and this is kind of why the pricing's going up. But again, if you sign up this weekend, then you'll be able to just get this one-time fixed price, the $397 for the plus package. That will just be a one-time purchase. And so you won't be on that monthly membership price anymore. You'll just pay that one price for the plus package, and then you'll get a year's membership with that. And if you want to continue past the year, then you can sign up for the $19.97 a month package or membership and continue to have access to the site and the webinars and the bonus lessons and all of that extra. So if you're interested in that plus package, then actually, because I know that they were wanting to put that pricing page back up starting today. So if you're interested in that plus and premier package, go ahead and email me, and I'll have my email address here at the end, and we can get you set up here. So again, plus package is the one-time fee of $397. And it will take you off that $19.97 package. So Azar, let's see, we have another question here. He says, I just started the Pronunciation Pro program. Great, excited to have you on board. And this is my second week. It may be too early, but I lost my American friends when they are speaking fast. Normal for them. Yes. So comprehension and understanding some of your American friends, that's going to be a learning curve. That's going to be something that as you go through the course, and this course will definitely help you in terms of your listening skills, because what we do is we go through, the sounds, the rhythm, we talk about the way people speak, and what you can do. One trick that I've learned with when you're speaking with American friends that are speaking too fast, again, normal for them, but you feel like it's too fast, is pick up on more of the rhythm. Think of the rhythm and that stress or emphasis that they're putting on key words. And when you get to, so you're only in week 2, when you get to the sentence stress, I think it's week 3 or 4, they'll talk about sentence stress, and that when you stress certain words and sentences, then that's the key ideas, that's the main ideas. So when you're listening to your American friends, try and pick up those stressed words and concentrate on getting those stressed words out of it. So if you hear those stressed words, and some people are better at stressing words than others, some are more clear, and even if you're a native English speaker, you can be very what I consider not fluent because you speak too fast, and you're not, they speak too fast and they're not emphasizing key words. And that's really what helps people understand you as you're focusing on your pronunciation, is when you emphasize key words. And you'll notice I do it a lot in my speech. I emphasize key words so that my listener can really pick up, even if those in-between words they don't understand or they can't fully, they're not quite getting. I emphasize the key words, so if they're only hearing the key words, then they're going to understand me. Another trick that I told a student was decrease or bring down your rate of speech while speaking to them. So instead of trying to speak as fast as them, kind of slow it down and see if you can kind of bring the overall tempo down a little bit. And it's been interesting to kind of experiment with this. And I've asked some of my students to experiment with it to see if it works, is when they are speaking slower or they kind of bring the tempo down, then the people they're speaking with sometimes do too. And I don't know why that is, but it's kind of a fun little experiment to do. And our tendency really is to speed up and to speak faster as you are with other people who are speaking quickly. But try not to do that, especially as you're working on your pronunciation, because that will only worsen the problem. So when you speak slow and controlled, your mind and your mouth are able to keep up with what you're saying, and or keep up with keep up with your mouth, and you'll have much clearer pronunciation if you do that. And as you go through the course, and if you get better in your pronunciation, you will be able to speed up. You're not always going to have to be speaking very slowly. I get that question a lot, is, okay, we're really emphasizing or stressing and I'm slowing down, but it does not sound all that natural. And that's true. At the beginning of this course, it's not going to be very natural sounding because you're going to slow it down drastically. And I do this just to get you into that mode of speaking slower. And then as you go through, and especially get through the review lessons, you speed it up a little bit and try and get to more of that normal pace. So hopefully that answered your question. Are there any more questions here? Oh, there's a question here. They're saying that I have a hard time understanding people from different parts of the United States, especially in the South. They tend to have more of an accent, right? They have that Southern accent. What are some tricks in being able to understand them? Okay, so it's two-way here, right? We have the way people are understanding us, and we have to take control, and that's what I encourage my students to do, is don't rely on other people to accommodate you. You know, you have to take control. If you want to be understood and you want to be able to progress in your career, it's up to you, and you have to take that responsibility. So you have to work on your own pronunciation. You have to work on your own communication skills, and not expect that to be from others. But it also goes in reverse, that other people are going to have thick accents, and so what do you do to be able to understand them? And again, like I was saying with the American friends that speak too fast, instead of trying to hear or understand every individual word, what I do, and especially, in my profession, I'm working with students who have accents. And so what I've learned to do to understand them better is that instead of listening for word by word what they're saying, I listen kind of in general, this overall, just listening to their speech, trying to pick up on those stressed words. And again, it comes back to those stressed words, as what words are they stressing or emphasizing? So if I were to say, the dog, so dog, I'm just coming up with this. So dog jumped fence, ran road. Okay, the dog jumped fence, ran road. So you would get an idea generally of what I'm speaking about, even though I didn't, the full sentence would have been, the dog jumped over the fence, and ran down the road. Okay, if I just picked out those key words, then you're going to understand what I'm talking about. those in-between words, those reduced words or non-stressed words are important to pronounce and use grammatically and everything. But as far as comprehension goes, if you just pick out those stressed words, you're going to understand. So again, just kind of that general listening for that overall language, their overall idea, and listening for those stressed words. Okay, any other questions? Let me look at here. So this is actually one of our first question and answer session that I've done as a webinar. And I always have question and answer at the end of my webinars, just very short question and answer. But I find that many people have a hard time speaking up, or kind of are a little more timid in situations like this. So I encourage you to come with questions. Thanks, Azar. This is a great idea, he says. Oh, thank you. Okay, so Azar, I think this is a great idea. I think that there are, especially for those who are doing the monthly membership price, you have to have a chance to be able to ask questions, and I want to be able to be there for you and answer your questions. So as you're going through the course, those of you who have started this membership, the monthly membership, I think what we will do is every month I do a webinar, and at the end of the webinars, I do question and answer. If there are questions that you have, you can come to those webinars and get those answered. And some of them will be specifically, I'll have topics that I talk about specifically. I'd like to get into a lot of different areas of communication, as well as pronunciation and fluency, to help you out. And but some of these just specific question and answer sessions I think are great. So thank you so much for coming today. I think that this was a great one, and I am looking forward to working with you. If you have signed up for the membership, the monthly membership, or if you are interested in that Plus or Premier package, go ahead and contact me. My email address, Annie, ANNIE, @pronunciationpro.com. And any question you have about the program or packages, look on the website. I think that we have. Let me look real quick. I don't think we have the pricing page up right now, but it should be in the next day. And go ahead and if you're interested in that Plus and Premier package, jump on it right away this weekend before the prices go up. And it will be just a pricing page. It'll say plans and pricing when you go to Pronunciation Pro. Plans and pricing, and you can purchase that program. Again, one-time fee, and you'll get the year membership with that. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming today. And again, email me if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing you in the Pronunciation Pro website. Thanks.